Hello everybody in the land of the internet, Jason Rivers here, and welcome to this Let's Play of DevPro. I'm here today to show you a Dark World deck that I've been running, and I will also show you a duel after I have gone through the deck profile, so let's get straight into it. Firstly, I run 2 copies of Tragodia, mainly used for defense. If I have no monsters on the field, I can summon it from my hand. But also in attack position as well, because you will eventually have a lot of cards in your hand from using this deck. I will get into that in a minute. Next, we run 3 copies of Greffa, Dragon Lord of Dark World. This is the main card of the deck that you'll be summoning to the field very quickly with the use of the discarding spell cards. Also good for a beta as well. And it can also destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field when it's discarded, so always a absolutely amazing card to have. Next we run 1 copy of Malefic Stardust Dragon. I purely use this as a beta, and it can only be special summoned by banishing 1 Stardust Dragon, and it can only remain on the field when there is a field spell card, so you have to be quite careful about how you use this card. Next we have 3 copies of the Dark Creator. It can only be special summoned by having 5 or more dark monsters in your graveyard, and it's basically used to summon even more monsters to the field. Dark Arm Dragon, this is always good if you draw it early game, because then by the time you have 3 dark monsters in your graveyard it can be special summoned. Next we have 1 copy of Gauze. This is self-explanatory. You can just summon it to the field when you take direct battle damage. Silver. 1 copy of Silver. It's just basically another beta. It can be summoned to the field after it is being discarded. They also, most of these cards have secondary effects as well, if they are discarded by your opponent's effect, but it's very unlikely, so I won't be really mentioning them a lot. Snow. The Snow card only has an effect that is used from your opponent, but I basically use this for Ixie summoning. We run 3 copies of that. Next we run 1 copy of Trance Archfiend. This card is basically used for bringing back banished monsters into your hand. 3 copy of Brow. We use this card for drawing power when it's discarded. Then we run 2 copies of Tour Guide for bringing out more fiend monsters, and use it for Ixie summoning. Then finally, we have 2 copies of Maxi, used for drawing cards when your opponent special summons. And that is it for the monsters. Next we have the spells, which are pretty straightforward in terms of discarding. We have Allure of Darkness, Heavy Storm, 1 Day of Peace, 2 copies of Trade-In, which I mainly use on Greffa, because I can get him into the graveyard as soon as possible, and then also draw 2 more cards. 1 Upstart Goblin for drawing power. Card Destruction, always good to have when you have a lot of the discarding effect monsters, so you can activate them all at once and do lots of chains. 3 copies of Dark World Dealings, discard 1, draw 1. 1 copy of Foolish Burial, used mainly on Greffa again. Monster Reborn, that's self-explanatory. 3 copies of the Gates of the Dark World. This is basically used for a power boost to my fiend monsters. And it is also used to keep Malefic Stardust Dragon on the field. And it also has a secondary effect where you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard, discard 1 fiend monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then draw 1 card. And that's it for the spells, and I only run 2 traps, which is 2 copies of Eradicator Epidemic Virus, which is used for thinning out your opponent's deck if they have spell or trap cards. You're only allowed to choose the 1 though. As always, I don't run a side deck because I prefer to play single duels. For the extra deck, We have 2 copies of Stardust Dragon for the synchros, one to summon Malefic Stardust Dragon, and another one just in case. And for the Xyz, we have Neo Galaxy Eyes, 2 copies of Heliopolis, Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis, number C39 Utopia Ray, number 39 Utopia, Maestroke, Gagaga Cowboy, Leviathan Dragon, Levia the Sea Dragon, run 2 copies of that, Tempo, and Wind Up Zenmane's always good for defense and destroying cards. So you'll see how powerful this deck is when I cut to the duel in a minute. So yeah, you're going to enjoy this one, guys. So let's cut to the duel. Okay, and here we go. I will start out with the rock, paper, scissors. And I have won it, so I will choose to go first. We have Drew, Transarchfiend, Brow, Silver, Maxi, One Day of Peace, and Malefic Stardust Dragon. So first, I think I will activate One Day of Peace. I've drew a Eradicator Epidemic Virus. There's no point in setting that down yet, as I have no monsters strong enough. I'll begin by setting down Brow and ending my turn. Not a very good hand at the moment. Let's see what our opponent pulls out. I think I will activate Maxi, just in case they decide to special summon anything. Okay, so they activate a Upstart Goblin, which raises my life points by 1,000 and allows them to draw a card. They activate Cards of Connaissance, which means I think they're going to use a Elemental Dragon deck, if I'm correct. One Day of Peace, Upstart Goblin, another Card of Connaissance. They choose to activate, bring out a One Day of Peace with a Pot of Duality. Okay, so they also activate One Day of Peace, allowing me to draw a Dark Creator. They also activate Reload and a Super Rejuvenation, so they're definitely using a Dragon deck. They activate another Card of Connaissance, send to the graveyard a White Stone of Legend, which allows them to draw Blue Eyes. Another Upstart Goblin, which gives me 10,000 life points now. Hand Destruction. Okay, so I will get rid of Silver, because it will activate his effect, and the Dark Creator for now. Why did it not activate his effect? Okay, seem to have made a slight mishap on that. Another Hand Destruction from my opponent. Think I'll get rid of Transarchfiend and Epidemic Virus, which allows me to draw Gauze and Greffer. My opponent is still drawing a lot of cards at the moment. They're up to 1, 2, 3... Oh, no, never mind. They have discarded, and I have drew a Tragodia. Right, let's see what we can do. First, I'll activate Allure of Darkness to draw 2 cards. I have drew Dark World Dealings and Maxi. So I think I will banish Tragodia at this point. I will then activate Dark World Dealings to send... I'll send Greffer to the graveyard. I could activate trade-in on Malefic Stardust, actually, which I think I'm going to do. Oh, no, I accidentally pressed set down. But I'll activate it and send Stardust Dragon to the graveyard to draw 2 more cards. And I have drew Brow and Snow. But I will set up some more defense. I will activate Tour Guide's effect to bring out a Brow from my deck. And then I will special summon Brow by returning it to my hand. No, sorry, I will special summon Greffer by returning Brow to my hand. And is there anything else I can do? Nope, so I'll go straight into my battle phase. I can only attack with Tour Guide and Greffer. I don't think I can do anything though because of 1 Day of Peace still being activated. If I don't do any damage, then that will be why. Yeah, that's correct. 1 Day of Peace is still activated, so I'll have to end my turn for now. So let's see what our opponent can do. I won't activate Maxi yet. So they activate a trade-in to send Blue Eyes to the graveyard to draw 2 more cards. Activate another trade-in to draw another 2 cards from their deck and send Blue Eyes to the graveyard. They are using a hand destruction to send 2 cards to the graveyard. So it's possible that they might have an Exodia that they're searching for, actually. So I will send Brow and Snow to the graveyard. They send an Upstart Goblin. I think it's quite possible that they're using an Exodia deck now, especially with the reload cards. Another reload. Dark World Dealings. I'll send Maxi to the graveyard just for now. And I'll send Greffer to the graveyard. Okay, so I'll summon Brow. And then activate Gates of the Dark World. And special summon Greffer. And flip summon Brow. And I am now free to attack. Hopefully this, if my maths are correct, then all of my opponent's life points will be taken down to 0. So I'll attack with Tour Guide. I'll attack with Brow. Yes, and this duel has now come to a close. I'll attack with Greffer, which will take my my opponent's life points down to 0, and which is the game. So as you can see, guys, this deck is very aggressive in terms of summoning. You can get so much out onto the field, especially when you discard the cards with your spells. I started out with a very, very bad hand, but managed to pull it around somehow. Well, my opponent wasn't really focused on attacking. It looks as though they were trying to use an Exodia deck of some kind. I will have to check the replay and look for see if they actually tried to use it, and I will put it up in an annotation to let you guys know. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future.